The silent guardian, the warning sirens screamed across New Geneva Station as Captain Alina Vasquez sprinted through the corridors. Her boots echoed against the metal floors while emergency lights bathed everything in red. She burst into the command center where dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations. "Report," Alina shouted over the chaos. Lieutenant Commander James Park looked up from his console, sweat beating on his forehead. "Captain, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. The signatures are unlike anything in our databases." Alina pushed past her crew to the main tactical display. The holographic screen showed Earth's solar system with tiny red dots appearing like drops of blood in the darkness. Each dot represented a ship larger than humanity's greatest vessels. "How many?" she asked, though she dreaded the answer. 73 confirmed contacts, ma'am. More appearing every minute." Park's voice cracked slightly. "They're heading directly for Earth." Alina felt ice in her veins. As commander of Earth's outer defense fleet, she had trained for this moment her entire career. First contact with hostile aliens had always been a possibility, but seeing it happen felt surreal. "Send a fleet-wide alert. All ships to battle stations. Contact Admiral Torres on Earth immediately." She turned to her communications officer. "Any response to our standard first contact protocols?" Ensign Lisa Rodriguez shook her head. "We've transmitted on all frequencies in 17 languages, including mathematical sequences. Complete silence, Captain." The alien fleet moved through space with purpose. Their ships were massive, angular things that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of predatory fish heading toward helpless prey. Elena's flagship, the EDF Valiant, was humanity's most advanced warship. Along with her fleet of 30 vessels, she commanded Earth's first line of defense. Against 73 alien warships, it felt woefully inadequate. "Captain," called out Tactical Officer Maria Santos, "the alien vessels are accelerating. At current speed, they'll reach Mars orbit in 6 hours. What about the Mars colonies?" "Evacuation is underway, but there are 2 million civilians, planet-side. The transport ships can't carry them all in time." Alina closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of command. 2 million lives hung in the balance, and Earth's entire defense fleet stood between humanity and extinction. "All ships, this is Captain Vasquez. Take positions at Mars orbital defense grid. We make our stand there." The next 5 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Elena's fleet arranged itself in defensive formation around Mars, using the planet's orbital defense platforms to supplement their firepower. Every ship reported ready for battle, though Alina knew their conventional weapons had never been tested against alien technology. "Contact at extreme sensor range," announced Park. "The alien fleet is entering Mars orbit." Alina watched the tactical display as enemy ships approached. They were beautiful in a terrifying way, their dark hulls seeming to ripple like living things. No communication, no demands, no warning. They simply advanced with deadly purpose. All ships, weapons free. Target the lead vessels. Humanity's fleet opened fire first. Missiles streaked through space, followed by particle beam weapons and plasma cannons. The attacks struck the alien ships and simply vanished, absorbed by energy shields that glowed briefly before returning to invisibility. Then the aliens returned fire. Their weapons were unlike anything Alina had ever seen. Streams of crimson energy lanced out from their vessels, striking human ships with devastating effect. The first beam hit the destroyer Courageous, and Alina watched in horror as the entire ship simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. Evasive maneuvers, Alina commanded, but more red beams reached out like fingers of death. 3 more human ships vanished in seconds. "Captain, our weapons aren't even denting their shields," Santos reported, her voice tight with panic. Alina gritted her teeth. "Keep firing. All ships target their weapon emitters. Maybe we can disrupt." There, her words were cut off as a massive alien vessel, twice the size of her flagship, dropped out of hyperspace directly above the Valiant. The ship's hull opened like a flower, revealing weapons that began to glow with lethal energy. "Race for impact," Alina shouted. The alien weapon fired, and Alina prepared to die defending her species. But the crimson beam never reached her ship. Instead, it struck something invisible and scattered harmlessly in all directions. "What the hell?" Park stared at his instruments in confusion. That's when it appeared. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear, revealing a ship that had been hiding in plain sight. It was unlike any human vessel Alina had ever seen, yet something about its design felt familiar. The hull was sleek and organic-looking, covered in patterns that seemed to shift and flow. It was smaller than the alien dreadnoughts, but radiated power like a caged star. The mysterious ship positioned itself between the Valiant and the alien vessel. Its hull began to glow with soft blue light, and weapon ports opened along its sides. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Vasquez of the Earth Defense Force. Please identify yourself." Static filled the communication channel for a moment, then a clear voice responded. The accent was strange, but the words were unmistakably English. "This is Commander Marcus Chen of the ship Prometheus. We're here to help." Elena's jaw dropped. A human name, a human voice, from a ship that shouldn't exist. Before she could respond, the Prometheus opened fire on the alien dreadnought. The weapons were like nothing Alina had ever seen. Instead of energy beams or projectiles, the Prometheus fired what looked like tears in space itself. Where these weapons struck the alien vessel, pieces of hull simply ceased to exist. As if reality had been edited, the alien ship reeled under the attack, its shields failing completely. For the first time since the battle began, Alina saw an enemy vessel take real damage. "All human vessels, this is the Prometheus," Commander Chen's voice filled the communication channels. "We're transmitting shield harmonics and targeting data to your ships. Use frequency 77 alpha to penetrate their defenses." Alina looked at her tactical officer, who nodded grimly. "It's working, Captain. Our weapons are suddenly effective against their shields." The tide of battle began to turn. With the mysterious ship's assistance and the targeting data it provided, humanity's fleet started inflicting real damage on the alien vessels. The Prometheus moved through the enemy formation like a dancer, its impossible weapons carving through enemy ships with surgical precision. But Alina noticed something troubling. For every alien ship they destroyed, 2 more appeared at the edge of the system. The enemy wasn't just invading, they were bringing reinforcements. Commander Chen, Alina transmitted, were being overwhelmed. "There are too many of them." "No, Captain. We've been fighting these creatures for longer than you can imagine, but Earth will not fall today." The Prometheus suddenly accelerated toward the largest alien vessel, a massive command ship that dwarfed even the dreadnoughts. Alina watched in amazement as the mysterious ship engaged the flagship in single combat. "Commander, you can't take that thing alone. We don't have a choice. That ship coordinates their entire fleet. If we can destroy it, the others will retreat to regroup. Elena made a decision that would have gotten her court-martialed under normal circumstances. All ships support the Prometheus. Form up on her position. Her remaining vessels followed. The mysterious ship toward the alien command vessel. The enemy flagship was a kilometer long and bristling with weapons, but the Prometheus didn't hesitate. It dove toward the massive ship like a hawk attacking an eagle. The battle that followed was unlike anything Elena had ever witnessed. The Prometheus and the alien flagship exchanged devastating volleys while human ships provided supporting fire. Space around them filled with energy discharges and exotic particles as technologies, beyond human understanding, clashed. The Prometheus took heavy damage, its hull scarred by alien weapons, but it kept fighting. Finally, its reality-tearing weapons found their mark. The alien command ship's core began to destabilize, and Elena watched as the massive vessel imploded in on itself. As the flagship died, something remarkable happened. The remaining alien ships stopped fighting. They hung motionless in space for several seconds, then began withdrawing toward the edge of the system. "They're retreating," Park announced, hardly believing his own words. Elena slumped in her command chair, exhausted. They had won, but barely. Of her original 30 ships, only 12 remained operational. Without the Prometheus, Earth would have fallen. "Commander Chen, this is Captain Vasquez. We need to talk." There was a long pause before the reply came. When Chen spoke again, his voice carried a weight that suggested centuries of hidden pain. "Yes, Captain. I suppose it's time you knew the truth about who we are and where we came from. It's a story that began 300 years ago, when Earth sent out its first colony ships to the stars." Elena felt her heart skip a beat. Colony ships that had vanished centuries ago were the stuff of legend and tragedy in human history. But as she looked at the battle-scarred Prometheus holding position near her flagship, she began to understand that some legends might be more than just stories. Brothers from the Void, the conference room aboard the Valiant, had never hosted a meeting quite like this one. Captain Elena Vasquez sat across from Commander Marcus Chen, studying the man who had just saved Earth from destruction. He looked human, but there were subtle differences. His eyes held flecks of silver that seemed to shift in the light, and his movements carried a fluid grace that spoke of genetic adaptation. "You said you're from one of the old colony ships," Elena began carefully. "Our records show that the colony vessel Prometheus launched in 2157 with 15,000 colonists. It was declared lost with all hands when it failed to report from the Kepler 442 system." Chen nodded slowly. "We weren't lost, Captain. We found something far more valuable than a new world. We found purpose." Dr. Sarah Kim, Elena's and first contact specialist, leaned forward. "The Prometheus launched with early fusion drives and basic life support. The ship we just fought alongside is centuries ahead of our current technology. How is that possible?" "Necessity," Chen replied. "Simply, when you're alone in the void, surrounded by hostile forces, you adapt or you die. We chose to adapt." Elena gestured to the tactical display, which still showed the retreating alien fleet. "Those creatures that attacked us. You called them these creatures like you'd fought them before. The Zephyrians. We've been at war with them for 237 years. The room fell silent. Admiral Torres, who had joined the meeting via quantum communication, link from Earth, spoke first. 2 centuries. That's impossible. No human population could sustain a war for that long. Chun's silver-flecked eyes hardened. You're thinking like planet-bound humans, Admiral. When your entire civilization exists aboard ships, every battle becomes a fight for survival. There's no retreat, no safe harbor. You either win or your entire people cease to exist. Dr. Kim pulled up holographic displays of the Prometheus's design. Commander, I've been analyzing sensor data from your ship. The hull composition includes materials that don't exist in our periodic table. The power signatures suggest you're using controlled singularities as energy sources. This level of technology should take millennia to develop. It should, Chen agreed. But when the Zephyrians found our first colony, when they burned our new world and killed half our people, we realized that following normal technological development would mean extinction. We had to think differently. Alina studied the man. Across from her, despite his strange eyes and enhanced reflexes, there was something deeply human about his determination. Tell us what happened. Chen stood and walked to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. The Prometheus reached Kepler-4 to be successfully. It was a beautiful world, blue oceans, green continents, perfect for human life. We spent 5 years establishing our colony, building cities, starting families. We thought we had found paradise. His voice grew distant, heavy with old pain. Then the Zephyrians arrived. They claimed the planet was in their territory, that we were trespassers. We tried to negotiate, to share the world. They responded by glassing our capital city from orbit. Glassing, Admiral Torres asked. Turning the entire surface to molten glass with particle bombardment, Dr. Kim explained quietly. Chen nodded. 12,000 colonists died in the first attack. The survivors' 3,000 souls retreated to the Prometheus. We had a choice: stay and die with our colony, or take to the stars and fight back. Alina felt a chill. You chose to fight. We chose to survive. But the Zephyrians hunted us. Every system we entered, they followed. Every world where we tried to establish a foothold, they burned. We realized that as long as we remained conventional humans with conventional technology, we would always be prey. Chen turned back to face them, and Alina saw something in his eyes that spoke of trials no human should have to endure. So we changed ourselves. Our geneticists worked miracles, adapting our bodies for life in space. Our engineers abandoned safe, tested technology in favor of experimental designs that might give us an edge. Our children grew up learning advanced physics alongside their alphabet. The singularity drives, Dr. Kim said. The reality distortion weapons. You developed them out of desperation. Desperation breeds innovation, Doctor. When your enemy can destroy planets, you learn to manipulate space-time itself. Chen gestured to the tactical display. What you saw today was the result of 2 centuries of technological evolution driven by pure survival instinct. Admiral Torres leaned forward in his display. Commander, our intelligence suggests the Zephyrian fleet was just a scouting force. Are you saying there are more of them? Chun's expression grew grim. Admiral, what attacked Earth today was less than 1% of their total fleet. The Zephyrians control 17 star systems and have been expanding their territory for over 5 centuries. They view humanity as a plague to be eradicated. The silence that followed was deafening. Alina felt the weight of extinction pressing down on her species. Why didn't you contact Earth before? We could have prepared, worked together. We tried, Captain. For the first 50 years, we sent messages back to Earth. Radio transmissions. quantum communications, even physical probe ships. None of them made it through Zephyrian space. We assumed Earth had fallen, that we were the last humans in the galaxy. Dr. Kim pulled up star charts, showing the route between Earth and the Kepler system. The Zephyrian expansion cut off all communication paths. Earth was isolated without knowing it. We only learned Earth still existed 3 months ago, Chen continued. Our deep space reconnaissance detected the Zephyrian fleet massing for a major assault. When we intercepted their communications, we discovered their target. Alina felt a surge of gratitude mixed with amazement. You came all this way to help people you thought might be dead. You're our family, Captain. Same blood, same dreams, same stubborn refusal to give up when faced with impossible odds. That's what makes us human, whether we're adapted for space or still bound to planets. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent message from the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Park's voice filled the room. Captain, we're detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the system. Something big is coming. Alina and Chen rushed to the bridge, where the tactical display showed space itself seeming twofold and twist. When the distortion cleared, Alina saw something that took her breath away. Ships, dozens of them, each one unique, but all sharing the same organic, flowing design aesthetic as the Prometheus. They ranged from small fighters to massive vessels that dwarfed even the Zephyrian command ship. This is the Nomad fleet, Chen announced to Elena's crew. All that remains of humanity's first interstellar colonists. 18 ships carrying 47,000 souls. Alina stared at the display in wonder. 47,000. But you started with 15,000 colonists. Children, Captain. Lots of children. When your entire species numbers in the tens of thousands, every birth becomes precious. We've maintained genetic diversity through careful planning and advanced medical techniques. Admiral Torres appeared on the main screen, his face a mixture of awe and concern. Commander Chen, your fleet is welcome in Earth space, but we need to discuss the Zephyrian threat. If what you're saying is true, today's attack was just the beginning. Chen nodded grimly. The main Zephyrian battle fleet will arrive within 6 months. They'll bring everything. They have planet killers, reality bombs, weapons that can sterilize entire solar systems. Earth's current defenses won't stand a chance. Then we build better defenses, Alina said firmly. You've been fighting them for 2 centuries. You know their weaknesses. It won't be easy. The technology transfer alone will take months, and you'll need to adapt your manufacturing base for exotic materials. But yes, it's possible. Dr. Kim was already pulling up technical specifications. Commander, these designs you're showing us, some of them seem to violate known physics. Chen smiled for the first time since the meeting began. Doctor, when you've been wandering the galaxy for 200 years, you learned that known physics is just the starting point. The universe is far stranger and more wonderful than Earth's textbooks suggest. Over the following weeks, Earth transformed. The Nomad fleet shared their advanced technology freely, and human scientists worked around the clock to understand and implement designs that seemed like magic. Shipyards that had built conventional vessels began producing craft with singularity, cores and space-folding drives. The genetic modifications proved more controversial. Many Earth humans were reluctant to alter their DNA, even for enhanced space adaptation. Chen understood their hesitation. It's not necessary for everyone, he explained to a gathering of world leaders. But for those who choose it, the enhancements offer advantages in zero gravity, radiation resistance, and longevity. The choice should remain individual. Alina was among the first to volunteer for the modifications. As she lay in the medical bay, feeling the nanites restructuring her genetic code, she thought about the incredible journey that had brought two branches of humanity back together. When the Zephyrian main fleet finally arrived, they found a very different Earth than the one they had expected to conquer. Instead of primitive humans with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons, they faced a united species armed with technology forged in the crucible of interstellar war. The battle lasted 3 days and ranged across the entire solar system. Earth's new fleet, a fusion of human determination and nomad innovation, met the Zephyrian armada in the asteroid belt. The weapons that flew between the opposing forces were more suited to gods than mortal singularity torpedoes that collapsed space itself, reality anchors that prevented dimensional escape, and shield harmonics that could deflect planet-killing beams. When the fighting finally ended, the Zephyrian fleet was broken and scattered. Their survivors fled back to their home systems, carrying word that humanity was no longer easy prey. Alina stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the EDF Unity, watching the stars. Commander Chen joined her, his own ship positioned nearby. "So what happens now?" Alina asked. Chen smiled, and in that expression she saw not just the weight of centuries, but also hope for the future. "Now we do what humans do best, Captain. We explore, we grow, we find new worlds and make them our own. But this time we do it together." In the months that followed, joint human expeditions pushed deeper into space than ever before. Some ships carried Earthborn humans eager to see new worlds. Others were crewed by the nomad descendants, finally able to stop running and start building. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders and dangers, but humanity faced it united, strengthened by their trials and enriched by their diversity. The species that had once been confined to a single world now reached toward distant stars with confidence, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one people. Alina often thought about the moment when the Prometheus first Decloaked to defend Earth. It had been more than just a rescue. It had been a homecoming, a reminder that no matter how far humans traveled or how much they changed, the bonds of kinship could span centuries and light years. The unknown ship that had emerged from the void hadn't just chosen to defend Earth. It had chosen to defend family, and in doing so, it had shown that the greatest strength of humanity wasn't their technology or their weapons, but their unwillingness to abandon each other, no matter the cost. As Alina watched the stars wheel overhead, she knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and challenges that would test humanity in ways they couldn't yet imagine. But they would face those challenges together, united by the simple truth that had brought the Prometheus home. We are all human, and we never leave family behind.